Lesson 23. Level B1. B1 plus. Past perfect simple. By the time, I. By the end, I. Story 1.
Alice,
Lesson
37 years
23.
old, Canada.
Level B.
By the end of my
1.
short vacation in Canada,
Bone
I had
plus?
seen a ghost twice. You might
Past
think I'm
perfect
crazy,
simple.
but I'll tell you exactly what happened.
By the time,
I was staying
by
at the Banff
end,
Springs Hotel in Banff, Alberta, with a group of friends. Each of us had a separate room, so I was alone at night. By the time I fell asleep one night, somebody had knocked on my door. When I opened it, nobody was there. Perhaps they had gone by the time I got to the door? That was what I thought. By the time I got back to bed, I had heard the knocking again. I admit that I was a bit scared this time, but I opened the door. I saw an elderly man that looked very frightened. By the time I managed to say something, he had introduced himself and had told me that he was looking for his wife, who got lost in the hotel in 1878. Seconds later, he disappeared. By the end of the night, he had visited me one more time. I was so scared and confused that I couldn't calm down for the next 3 days.
Story 2.
Jakub, 20 years old, Poland. By the time I was 8, I had lived in 4 different countries. My dad was in the military, so we moved around a lot. I didn't have friends when I was young because we were always moving. I was always the new kid in school. It was hard to make friends because all the other kids had already known each other well, and they weren't interested in getting to know anybody new. But traveling had its advantages. By the time most other kids learned to say a few sentences in a foreign language, my sister and I had been able to communicate easily in English and French. By the end of high school, I had earned a lot as a language tutor and had saved enough money to rent an apartment. I had become financially independent by the time I turned 18. It gave me a lot of freedom and allowed me to continue traveling. By the end of 2021, I had visited 5 out of the 7 continents.
Story 3.
Maria, 27 years old, Spain. I hadn't smoked a single cigarette by the time I was 25 years old. I was at a party, and I was a bit drunk when I smoked for the first time. My friend Jason was standing outside the club alone, so I joined him for a chat. When he took a pack of cigarettes out of his pocket and offered me one, I refused. He kept convincing me to take it, and I finally gave in. It tasted nasty, but I finished smoking it and took another one. By the end of that night, I had smoked at least 4 of them. For the next few weeks, I kept smoking when I was out with friends. By the time I realized that I was addicted to nicotine, I had smoked 7 or 8 cigarettes a day. I hadn't noticed it by the time my friends started telling me that I was smoking too much and that my breath was stinky. I also coughed a lot, and I was very irritable. By the time I finally quit smoking a month ago, I had smoked up to 10 cigarettes a day.
The end of Lesson 23.